Namaskar and welcome to this edition of India UN Partnership at 75 years to mark the 75th anniversary of United Nations. Listeners may recall India has been one of the founding members of the world body. Today we have with us Rene von Berkel, head of the Regional Office of United Nations Industrial Development Organization UNIDO in India. Welcome to the show, Rene.
Thank you. Pleasure to join.
Listeners, I would like to introduce you to our guest today. Rene von Berkel has been the UNIDO representative and he heads the regional office of the UNIDO in India. The office which he holds is responsible for India, Bhutan, Maldives, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and it coordinates country offices in Afghanistan and Bangladesh. You may very well recall, UNIDO works to foster inclusive and sustainable industrialization in its member countries. Rene has 30 years professional experience in resource efficiency and cleaner production, industrial productivity, sustainability, and green industry economy. Plus, he has a vast experience in countries from Europe, Australia, and Asia, covering a variety of manufacturing and related sectors. During 2015 to 2017, he served as Chief Technical Advisor for UNIDO's RECP program in Indonesia. It was focused on prioritized textile and garments, food processing, and tourism sectors. In his earlier stint during 2008 to 2015, he headed for UNIDO the global RECP program and initiated new developments in RECP methods and tools, eco-industrial parks, green industry policy, and corporate social responsibility, especially in Asia and Eastern Europe. Welcome to the show, Rene.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join.
Yeah, you have got quite a vast repertoire in terms of the areas in which you have worked, especially in the field of sustainable development, to say so.
Yes, I indeed have done that. And part of that history is also in India. So it's a pleasure to talk to All India Radio today.
So again, what we have seen that during the course of this program, we have many experts like you who have some sort of India connect to see to it that the India-UN partnership has been flourishing and gathering momentum. And as we celebrate 75 years of existence, we have seen UNIDO as one of the institutions which has really yielded quite a substantive outcome for the countries in the region. Can you enumerate some of the highlights of UNIDO work in India?
Yes, UNIDO as the Industrial Development Organization is maybe the less known part of the UN system. And we were also established a bit later in 1966. So we celebrate 54 years. And India has been a member, beneficiary and contributor since day one. We have mainly worked on technical cooperation programs, so to help manufacturing sector development. And that has evolved pretty much over time, as of course, India has also developed and matured over time. So if you say late 60s, 70s, there was much of state-controlled heavy industry in India. And then UNIDO assisted with setting up light and agro industries to produce basically basic goods and create jobs. So support focused on the issues like testing, quality control, marketing, and export promotion. And then during the 80s and 90s, India pursued much more the deregulation, and UNIDO shifted much more towards enhancing productivity and efficiency and supporting technology and investments in small enterprises and manufacturing units. This led to UNIDO, I would almost say, trademark initiatives around cluster development, which continue till now in different versions. And in parallel, also UNIDO then started to support the sector technical centers, which are providing assistance on technology transfer and innovation, such as, for example, the Research and Development Center for Bicycles and Sewer Machines in Ludhiana, the Cane and Bamboo Technology Center in Guwahati, and a number more around that. In the 90s, we started to work more on energy and environment and see that as a catalyst also for productivity and innovation in the MSME sector through initial waste minimizations in clusters like Surat for textile and Muzaffarnagar on the pulp and paper sector. And over the last 10 years, UNIDO has also played a key role in enabling India to achieve the obligations under the multilateral environmental agreements like the Stockholm Convention on the elimination of persistent organic pollutants, so working on more chemical and chemical waste related issues.
During the course of our conversation, you mentioned that the cluster development, it holds the key. In fact, especially focus on the MSME sector, as this government has also been focusing in its tenure, to say so. So, for the benefit of our listeners, can you explain in a nutshell what this is cluster development, especially for the MSME sector, mean and what are its implications and how UNIDO sees its prospects in the years to come?
I think the original cluster concept involves the collaboration between producers, so micro and small producers in a limited geography, in a village, in a cluster, to work together on manufacturing and marketing of a selected set of products. So it might be man-made textile, could be bamboo products, or it could be other leather goods, for example. And this has been a proven concept globally and remains very much valid and effective over the past decades. And UNIDO has done quite a lot of work, and even actually earlier this year we produced a best practice guideline, which is demonstrating how this can be also made more relevant for inclusiveness and greening and sustainability of manufacturing sectors. And this has highlighted then the needs for collaboration and the business networks to remain relevant and to allow clusters to flourish over time. I believe this is somewhat complementary to the work that the Development Commissioner for MSMEs has been doing on clusters, which has focused very much on common tool rooms, so common facility centers, which help MSMEs do product testing, product development, trial runs, and so on. But I must say that over time, actually, the cluster concept has evolved and diversified, which has created a situation that right now you can say that clusters mean different things to different people. And unfortunately, that has not been very useful for advancing the cluster and MSME development. So I see now references where we have clusters from a supplier development program, where we see the OEMs, the large manufacturers establishing groups of suppliers and call that a cluster to help them to become suppliers to their large corporations. And to a certain extent, UNIDO is also involved in working with ACMA to set up automotive components manufacturing clusters and help them with becoming qualified suppliers at the Mahindras, the Marutis, and other car manufacturers. We also see, and that is in part the government programs, that we see clusters as enterprise improvement programs. So there is a collaboration between disconnected enterprises which work together on quality improvement or zero effects, zero defects, manufacturing or quality management. So they work together and it's an efficient way for delivery of programs. So we see quite a diversity of cluster concept. And the latest one is perhaps to see clusters more as the industrial estates evolving. And there UNIDO has been quite active to say we could have common effluent treatment facilities, but then also common energy facilities and work together to become an eco-industrial park ultimately.
The most of the idea, the concepts in this era, these pertain to basically, the sustainable development and a green economy, to say so. As we move into an era, there is the dependence on the energy wasting mechanisms have to be done away with, and we move on to an economy which is more resilient and which is more on the lines of using the resources which can be replenished time and again. So in the Indian context, as we see the scenario today, how do you see the progress?
I think that India is very diverse, of course, and very large. So one can see leaders far ahead and doing very innovative things on energy and environment. But one also, unfortunately, sees a lot of laggards who have not really catched up on the fact that energy and environment are also areas of competitiveness and productivity. So we still see a lot of scope for what UNIDO is now referring to as this resource efficiency and cleaner production approach, where we say we have to maximize product value creation from each unit of material, water, unit of energy that we use. And if we do that, we have less waste that goes into the environment, less pollution. And if we do that, we also improve the manufacturing environment or the work environment. And that encourages people to stay there and be more productive, which ultimately also helps enterprises. And this is a concept which UNIDO has been cultivated in different iterations over the last 25 years. Also in initial work in India, in Ahmedabad with the pesticides formulation industries that has led to the setup of cleaner production centers like the Gujarat Cleaner Production Center, or also to some of the programs of, for example, the CII, Confederation of Indian Industries, with the Green Co-rating program, which is essentially encouraging companies to take care of all the natural resources they use and then become cleaner and more resource efficient and also more productive.
Basically, we are talking about a mechanism which gives space more to the enterprises and the entrepreneurs as we look forward to have a clean and green energy solutions. Listeners, we have with us Rene von Berkel, Head of the Regional Office of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization UNIDO in India, sharing insights with All India Radio on building back business from crisis. Well, Rene, we are talking about the how to get back to the business and especially to the MSME sector. We have seen over the past 6 months, to say so, the way the COVID-19 pandemic has virtually, brought a sea change in terms of the various sectors, and one of the sectors which has been MSME. Now, going back to the scene and the measures which have been taken by various governments across the globe, what are the prospects, in which we can further improve upon the delivery mechanisms for the MSME sectors and how they can further give a boost to their output?
Thank you. Indeed, as you mentioned, the MSME sector has been impacted particularly by the crisis and the pandemic which came upon us and the lockdown. And we initially took stock, and because people are saying it's really an issue of finance and cash flows. But when we took stock of the MSME sectors already early in April, we came around that there's more fundamental issues which are basically related to the uncertainty which is there on what will happen in markets, what will happen with policy, the demand which has plummeted in all the sectors, then the reverse migration, so workforce and manpower is unavailable. Then we had also the issues that equipment and materials are standing idle and decay over time, and the disruption of the supply chain. So it's not so easy that you can just with a cash handout restart the MSME sector, and that has led us to a support program. I think that with the government programs which we have seen as lots is based on providing additional finance or easy access to finance, but taking into consideration that about 85% of the financing in the MSME sector is informal and not through the established financial institutions. This large share of the MSME sector is in fact prohibited or not able to access this funding support which is available through the central government programs. So we, from the UNIDO side, we started with an initiative which we call B3C, Building Back Business from Crisis, which is also an online collaboration platform, b3cmsme.org, which provides a kind of a roadmap for MSMEs to restart and recover and rejuvenate their businesses. So we provide a roadmap for take stock, improve safety and the infection control in your enterprise, then restart your operations, and then look for core strengths and develop new opportunities, and also be more prepared for future shocks that might be there. And then what is often said, crisis is also an opportunity. Yeah. So we see that because the crisis has revealed some weaknesses in the MSME segment, this is also the time to look at some of these weaknesses and address those. So in terms of enterprising, how to deal with finance, how environment is addressed, how occupational health and safety is being addressed. So also with our Building Back Business from Crisis, we've tried to provide practical guidance on how we can now realize the opportunities and address the weaknesses of the past. So we've done this in terms of tutorials, checklists, fact sheets, and we've tried to promote this, of course, through virtual means, because actual delivery to enterprises is still a challenge in the current scenario.
This B3C really sounds a very interesting idea. And going by the experiences of UNIDO since your website came into existence, have you got some feedback, or do you have some success stories which you can share with us?
It's difficult to find exactly the success stories because we have not been able to do the hand-holding on a one-on-one basis. And that is the difficulty that we are currently experiencing. But we see some examples of companies which have done well to try to repurpose their manufacturing enterprises. So instead of stitching jeans or stitching clothes, they've started stitching PPEs, which is a big India never made personal protective equipment. And now it's a major exporter of it. So that has been largely because the Tripura and other clusters which have come on board. And I think that there are also now signs that the industry is starting to pick up, and with some industry sectors being more proactive and more visible, like related to, for example, bicycle sector is quite up. The two-wheelers and smaller cars is already up. Food processing has been relatively strong because of the good monsoon and large volume of input. But other sectors are still very much down in terms of production and capability, producing at 30 or 40% less than they could.
As you rightly pointed out, every challenge also brings out some opportunities. And this has also seen an opportunity where we invest more in terms of innovation and technology. And it has the potential to pay great dividend towards economic recovery as well as making a country self-reliant. So, what are the views of the organization like UNIDO on this issue and any specific initiative which UNIDO is undertaking?
UNIDO is very much in favor of the innovation because we see in industry, if you don't innovate, you slide back in terms of manufacturing development and competitiveness. It has become even more important right now. We are, though, in the current context a bit weary that innovation is mixed up with just digitalization. So we seem to focus a lot on the digital technologies, but we also need innovation in products and actually manufacturing technology, or physical technology, if we may say. But UNIDO is engaged in different ways. If I may highlight one practical example, we are very much involved in facilitating clean tech innovations and entrepreneurship. So with the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, we have an initiative which is called the FLCTD, Facility for Low Carbon Technology Deployment, that supports early innovators to deploy and test and verify their clean tech innovation in an industrial setting. And we've done that, and we provide them some technical and financial support to these innovators to basically prove how their innovation can work. We've done that over the past 2 years, supported 30 innovators in the areas of waste heat recovery, efficient pumping, and space conditioning. So we've, for example, supported some development of portable solar-powered irrigation pumps, some innovation around instant milk chilling, the use of phase change materials in last-mile delivery of cold chain. And in this context, we, with this initiative also last week, just launched another set of technology verticals. So we're looking for innovators in India to support in the areas of electricity storage, so battery technologies and related ones, in industrial IoT, so where we use Internet of Things to actually monitor industrial processes better, so we have less waste and less energy losses, and also in the area of industrial resource efficiency, so using more advanced manufacturing processes that use less resources. So we're actively calling for innovators to come forward and extend our support in deploying the technologies. So that's very practical, but at the policy level, we are also working with the Department of Science and Technology to prepare for what is called an innovation system survey. So we are focusing on 5 sectors to see how the innovation system in India works and what can be done to foster collaboration and efficiency in research and commercialization. Collaboration between government on one side and then the knowledge-based institutions like the technical institutes, the IITs, and then the industrial users of new technologies.
Rene, you mentioned 5 sectors. Can you mention the sectors in which that innovations is being done? Because it's quite an interesting idea and it throws open a whole lot of potential.
It is looking at pharma, food processing, textiles, leather, and IT and electronics.
These are the areas where there's a lot of potential for the innovators to come out with the concepts or ideas which can make the country self-reliant and also be propeller for the growth in economy.
The tradition, what we observe is as a degree of disconnect between the innovation or the knowledge-based institutions and actually MSMEs. And that so the innovators are not necessarily addressing the problems of the MSMEs, and the MSMEs do not necessarily recognize the value of the research that is done by the knowledge institutions. So if we can find programs that bring better together and formulate joint research programs, that is proven to be an international best practice. If you look, for example, at Japan, Australia, Europe. So we see that these highly innovative countries have very good collaboration between these knowledge institutions, industry, and government.
Another important aspect has been, while we talk about the institutional arrangements and its benefits and implications for not only the country, but also for the countries in a particular region or across the globe. And given the background that India has been a very strong votary of South-South cooperation and the Triangular Cooperation, what are the areas in which you see a further potential of expanding the collaboration in terms of these solutions between the developing as well as the emerging countries?
There's a lot of potential that we see from collaboration, both in the level of technologies as well as on the level of approaches and methods. And if I may share one example of a UNIDO program has been, for example, this regional network for pesticides in Asia Pacific, RENPAP we call it. And this has fostered collaboration between 15 countries in Asia Pacific on safe and environmentally sound use of pesticides. and that collaborates then around technical areas such as safe substitutes, botanical pesticides, biocides, ecotoxicology, and application technologies. And this already for over 15 years has really helped to commercialize and to introduce in the market neem-based and Bt-based, bacillus-based pesticides and biocides, which are an alternative to very hazardous chemical pesticides. And this is also some of the work that is now actually helping UNIDO to develop alternatives to DDT for India. And some of this technology has been developed in Southeast Asia and China and is now being customized to the Indian context to come up with a suite of alternatives that can replace DDT in the control of mosquitoes. And further on, we are also then working with this neem-based pesticides, which is very much an Indian story, to bring this to Africa, for example. We completed a project where we try to introduce this neem-based pesticides for agricultural applications in Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Ghana. And I think there are many similar examples on innovations in leather processing, which can be commercialized. Or there is actually also with Vicky on the Millennium Alliance, there is an effort to demonstrate and transfer technologies which came in ultimately from India to developing country context on precision agriculture, on solar drying of fruits and vegetables. So these are all very hands-on technologies and applications which can be applied in many developing countries as well as in India, where they were initially developed.
Thanks a lot. Well, listeners, that was Rene von Berkel, head of the regional office of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization UNIDO in India, sharing insight with All India Radio on building back business from crisis. And what he says is basically B3C model. Thanks for joining us, Rene. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.